Hello, my name is Fred Osborne. I have the privilege today to congratulate the graduates of Maritime Christian College, an achievement well accomplished, and again, how proud we are for you and for your future ministry with Maritime Christian College and in the area of evangelism. I've been given the subject today, or the topic, opportunity to speak to you on evangelism, and I've entitled it Evangelism 900. And if you're into themes and or subjects, it's be a follower who goes. So there's a theme here of following and going that I want you to kind of put away in your memory here as we go through a text. It's actually an experience that Jesus had with his disciples going across the Sea of Galilee into a foreign region or a new region or an area new to them. And that's going to be you. Going into new areas and new places, but now you're going qualified, prepared for what might be coming, and to know that you have the authority of Christ with you and you have his word to strengthen and encourage you. Again, congratulations on your ministry and your work to this point in time. Jesus and the disciples said, as they cross into a place called the Decapolis, and there's a lot of history and background about the Decapolis, but for today we just want you to get the idea that this is not a Jewish community that Jesus is going into. This is a region of 10 cities, very foreign to Jesus and his disciples, but there was a need. So where there's a need, there's no land that's foreign to Christ. So it's in the Gospel of Mark that we have our text today. And it's a text that you just kind of look at it and you begin to, well, where is the core of it and what is the meaning and the purpose of it? And there's two main characters or people involved in it. And one is Jesus himself and the other is a man called Legion. You know the story quite well. I'll read a few lines or sentences of it here. And as Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed began to beg Jesus that he might go with him. This is after Jesus, remember the story about all of the swine being killed, and they were asking Jesus as he was coming into the region, performed this miracle, and this man moved all these demons from him. The crowd came together, and they were pleading with Jesus, please leave. We don't want you here. We don't need you here. We've lost our living. We've lost our livelihood. We just want you to please go away. And this one man, Legion, he comes to Jesus and he's pleading with him, can I follow you? Can I go with you and the disciples? And this is a time where most people, where Jesus was encouraging them to come and to follow him. But Jesus said, yes, you're going to follow me, but you're going to be going as you're following. You're not going to be coming with me and my disciples, but you will go and tell what? That's the premise that Jesus is getting at here, is go tell what? So there's a bit of a pause here and a moment captured in time. What's going on here with Jesus telling this man to go back? Not to follow him, but to follow him in a new way or another way. And that would be to go and tell what? The message. Go and tell. Go. And in the going, you're going to be learning through this process of going that you're actually following and that Jesus is leading. And you never know where those opportunities are going to come. And the majority of experiences that you'll have, you're not going to be ready for them because Jesus is going to schedule them in such a way that perhaps it's not going to be when you're really at your best or when you have time or when you think you do. And it's happened to me so many times. And so it's a process then of going. But in the going, what we're actually doing is following Jesus in his footsteps. And this man, Legion, then was free to go. And Jesus said to him, go and tell. Tell in proclaiming who you are now. They already knew who Legion was. They had tried to hold him with chains. They had persecuted him. They had done everything to him to ignore him, whatever they could. And they just could not contain him. So Jesus said, go and tell them what? what the Lord has done for you. Now that sounds like a very simple and compact message, and it is. But this is Evangelism 900. In a phrase or a term, a course that is just given in these 3 words: go tell what. And it's good that you have education behind you now, you have some learning and some experience and life experience. Bring those all together and do this. Go tell what. But it has to be a willingness to tell the story of what God has done for you. And we look at that with a bit of hesitation. But Jesus is saying, go home, and going home, you will be following me. Go to your own people and tell them. This is your first assignment now that you're a graduate, is to go home to the people that are closest to you, who know you very, very well, and start sharing your story of how you came to Christ and what Christ or God has done for you. It's going to be a challenge for you, but it's also going to be an opportunity to see what God is going to do in those moments. So it just says that the man went away and began to tell in all of the Decapolis, this is 10 cities, how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. In Mark's gospel, in that 5th chapter, it's a quick summary, and it's very easy to read about what had happened here and how Jesus, seeing this man become a disciple and saying to him, go now and you make disciples as well. But do it in a brief way and a simple way, and it's the most clear explanation of evangelism or disciple making, or whatever you want to call it, that I have ever come across, was simply go tell what. I've had courses from Acadia, courses, practical courses, Maritime Christian College, other institutions, but this is a simple course of go tell what. And Jesus then releases Legion into these cities. But we see Jesus here being ostracized by this whole region and just pleading with him to go away. But we also have other pleading, and it's a pleading of Legion, and he's saying, Jesus, allow me or let me follow you. And Jesus said, yes, you're going to follow me, and you're going to do it by going, not coming with me, but going to your hometown, all of these cities and towns, and spread the word. And you would think that that would be the conclusion, but Mark picks it up again in the 7th chapter, and also Matthew puts some light on this in the 15th chapter, where we see Jesus, after leaving the Decapolis, he comes back. But what a reception this time. First time, remember? Very cool reception. And at the end, just pleading with him to leave. Now he comes back, and they're bringing everyone that they can to be healed or to be restored by Jesus. What happened? In that period of time, from Jesus leaving the Decapolis to coming back, what happened was Legion went, go tell what? And with the go tell what, when Jesus returned, multitudes of people were coming to him, and they were praising him to the degree that Matthew mentions that at the conclusion, people were praising the God of Israel, which is very enlightening, because that would tell us that these were non-Jews. And so this whole event had taken place. What is going on here? And the commission and the obligation, and I want through this to say 2 things as I conclude today. Jesus never sent angels to proclaim the message. We learn that very well with the experience with the Ethiopian. The angel messenger went to the man that was going to tell the man out of Ethiopia where he could find Christ. But why didn't he tell an angel? Because God has given that privilege to you and to myself, to go tell what? Another fascinating aspect of this is what Jesus had said to his disciples in the 14th chapter of John. He was preparing them for when he was going to be returning to the Father. And he said to them, "You will do greater things than what I have done." We look at the miracles of Christ. He had sent the disciples out, healing ministries. They too were seeing and witnessing all of these miracles. And Jesus said, "You will do greater things than this." That's the promise that he's making to all of us even today. As we see from this text, go tell what? We have a message that Jesus himself could not have proclaimed, and a work that he could not have done until after the cross. The man on the thief on the cross, we talk about him a lot. You hear stories, well, what about the thief on the cross? What about evangelism there? But it was by the authority of the word of Jesus himself that he said to him, the passage, "Today or this day you will be with me in paradise." We've been given, beyond all our human comprehension or understanding, this go tell what message that Jesus has for us, that we can proclaim in his name salvation to a lost world. Because of the single drop of Calvary blood, all of the world could be cleansed and saved and redeemed. You have the go tell what message that Jesus is sending you out with to do greater things than he could even do, and that's proclaim salvation in his name. Just to conclude, this came home to me earlier this year when I had opportunity to speak at some meetings in Murray Harbor. And my sister, who had never proclaimed openly to a congregation her faith in Christ, came to a meeting on, I think, this third evening. And the next day, she sent me a message and saying, "I'd like to know more." And then a couple of days later, my son-in-law baptized her. Go tell what? You have a message that Jesus has given to you of go tell what? That we can proclaim salvation in his name because of his death, burial, and resurrection, and the cleansing blood of a drop of Calvary blood. Thank you, and God be with you.